Good, mate.
How are we all?
Right.
Everybody that is we invited to come on and watch along or to get involved or whatever, because it's Teams and it's no Zoom like the last time. The long and short is we don't know how to work it. So apologies for everybody that's waiting in the lobby or whatever. We can't, for whatever reason, we can't get it to work. So join on the YouTube link, which is on Twitter, and we'll ask your questions, get involved via there. Thanks, genuinely, thanks for trying to join us or whatever. If we were a professional podcast, we would have jumped on a couple of years ago and tried to fix this, not 10 minutes ago, whilst watching Aberdeen embarrass themselves in the Scottish Cup. But them the apples. There you go.
This is me holding my hands up, right? So
I thought we were going, here we go. 10
in a row. There we go. It's a
Here we
lucky
go.
happenstance. I'll take that. Fucking get into the bastards. We'll cover that in a minute or two. But it's entirely my fault. There's some stuff has changed in teams that's different to when we done this the last time. So it is a pain in the hole. So So it's YouTube only for tonight,
And
but we'll get it
in the
sorted.
hole. We'll talk about pains in the hole all night, as Hibernian's hole was well and truly destroyed yesterday, and we'll come on to talk about that in great depth. Brads, how was your Sunday?
It's very good, mate. Very, very good.
Quiet, wasn't it?
Well, to be fair, I was fairly shit my pants in the morning. I kind of put a wee message at like, I don't understand these folk that are buzzing for derby games. I am absolutely bricking it. Like, debating whether to watch or not. That's how bad I am. But I'm glad I did.
Well, I'm glad you did as well. Kevin, how was your Sunday?
Sunday was fantastic, mate. And I spent the afternoon in the 1874 bar enjoying it with a number of other Hearts fans.
Good. Enjoyable. Ando, it was good to see you yesterday. How was your Sunday?
Absolutely magnificent. If I'm going to be honest, until the point where I tripped over my own foot trying to run down to celebrate Toby Sibbick's third goal. The third goal by Sibbick. I made a absolute hell and hunt of that. But apart from that, and having to look after Shanks for the latter part of the evening, my day was superb.
Well, to be fair, Shanks can get a shout out because he was actually good value at the game yesterday. Although he did consistently rub people's heads. I don't know if he's trying to get his own back and everybody patting his ball teeth or whatever. But other than that, Shanks was on fine form, so that was good. Although it is now 10 o'clock on a Monday and we've never heard from him since yesterday, so make of that what you will.
Mate, you've got no idea, right? So it was. We went out for a couple of beers after the game last night for a mate of mine's birthday, and he was invited along to it, right? And at fucking 6:30 this morning, he's trying to video chat us, and then sends pictures of bottles of vodka on what is clearly his kitchen counter. He was out all night. I left him at 11:30. He's probably still out. So if any of Shanks' employers are watching, good luck.
Aye. To be fair, he's got an excuse this time. He's got an excuse.
That's
not every. Well, I was going to say it's not roll into Easter Road and smash them, but that would be a downright lie. It would. It's like the second time in 3 weeks that we've beat them 3-0. That's the second time in our last 4 visits we've scored 3 there or something.
Luke in the chat, who was out with us yesterday for a bit, said Shanks called me at 8 o'clock this morning. The absolute tube. There we go. He's not just affecting us; he's affecting the listeners as well. It's amazing.
He was good value. He was good. Well, thanks to everybody that's obviously watching along YouTube. Fire in your questions. We'll answer them as and when we go. Have I spent all day listening to Hibs podcasts? Yes, I have. Have I enjoyed it very much? Yes, I have. The wee specky Harry, get it right up here. I love that guy. What a bell end of a boy he is. So I hope he's having a miserable Monday night. As miserable a Monday night as Big Bad P, the Aberdeen fan, whose team just get pumped out by the team we play fives with every other Monday. Brad's win it. I'm sure we played Darvel, haven't we?
Who knows? It was so bad. They were so bad tonight. It's unreal.
Mate, remember we did a live after Brora?
Mm-hmm.
How what do you call it? Bit of serendipity in it, or sliding doors moment. Look at where we've been since that moment, and look at where Aberdeen are right now. I can guarantee you that Jim Goodwin will not turn his fortunes round like Robbie Neilson, and Jim Goodwin will not be sitting in a year's time as the third best team in Scotland, group stage football, etc., etc. He will be on the dole, is where he will be, and not a better place for him.
Rightly
See,
so.
actual something we missed. See, one of the things we missed is see the picture of Robbie Neilson laughing at Jim Goodwin for the touchline at Tynecastle.
No,
Well, I'll
I've
put it in
missed
the group chat. It's an absolute belter of a photo. he's just looking right over at him, just absolute laughing, and he's just sitting staring at his feet
Is that
like me at Easter Road all day.
after one of
yesterday.
the goals or something like that? Is it? Oh,
Aye,
oh.
something
I love
like
that shithousery. Like that's what makes football brilliant. Is exactly that. It's like, so fucking
Exactly.
get it up here.
It's like
Amazing.
running from your own half, putting a Scotland international in his arse and dinking in it and emptying it and going, absolutely iconic.
Do you know
We've
what
had-
I missed until today and watching it 1,000 times over again? Is at the end of the game, Humphrey's going around every one of the Hibs boys and be like, ha! Fuck you, prick!
He's saying that to every one of them. I was like, yeah. My favourite thing is all the Wigan fans quote tweeting it being like, he's not coming back. There is no chance he's coming back to Wigan. I was like, absolutely superb. We've had Fozzie on the fence. We've had Rudy in his kissing his shoes.
Mm-hmm.
That is as iconic as every single one of them. That was absolutely superb.
Up there.
We'll talk about obviously yesterday's result. We'll talk about the next round of the cup. We get Hamilton away. And we'll just talk why not? If you can't relish these moments, like we said, it was 2 years ago. I don't know, this day or whatever, we were sat here embarrassed, going over the coals of being knocked out of the cup by Brora Rangers, and now look at where we are. Talk about yesterday's game, the difference in the teams, because again, at the game, I've got a different opinion now that I've rewatched it. Some of the moments in the match, some of the beautiful moments of karma that have since and subsequently happened. We've got a 20 goal a season striker. Next target for Lauren Shanklin, 31 goals to beat Robbo's record. I was buzzing to see Shanklin's nod to Robbo with celebration, very much deliberate, and Robbo texting Shanklin as well already today to congratulate him and tell him that he hopes to go. And we'll just laugh at Hibs. We'll fucking go through Twitter. We'll talk about their podcasts. We'll talk about how miserable they are, how shy Aberdeen are, and just how good Heart and Midlothian Football Club are. Sound good?
Absolutely.
Sounds great. How many Twitter pages have you been banned from today?
Oh mate, how good am I doing today? Superb, innit? I've been so good that Hearts pages are even banning me, even blocking me, which has been fun. Right, fun and games, innit? Absolute fun and games. Ando, you keep us up to date with anything that's happening on YouTube. If there's any questions, any comments, anything anybody wants us to talk about, let us know. We'll dive through it and dive into them.
Roger that.
Anything so far?
Aye, so there's a couple of people just chatting backwards and forwards about the Aberdeen game. The Hearts got beat by Brora. You'll not get a worse result than that. Aberdeen, hold my pint. From Rab Gill. Luke James obviously saying that Shanks was a creep phoning him first thing this morning. What was the other thing as well? Yeah, the P45 derby at Easter Road on Saturday. I didn't realise that.
Somebody called it.
Aye, the next
somebody
game.
called it El Sacchio.
That's right.
Yeah,
Aye.
I've seen that.
Scottish TV Gold. It's just written El Sacchio at Easter Road next weekend. So aye, that's
won't
class. That.
It won't be.
Yeah,
It's
good.
3.5 hours for where Aberdeen just get pumped to Pittodrie. There's no chance he has a job when his feet touch fucking the north of
Aye.
Scotland.
Dave Cormack's was at that game. I seen him on the BBC coverage earlier on. There'll be a chat on the bus, and he'll be getting his jotters by the time he gets that bus back to Aberdeen. They'll be like, right, in you go, clear out your office, get the fuck out of Dodge.
You'll not get past East Kilbride. Just
That's
let him
true.
off there.
We'll put it in a box
Well,
and
yeah,
send
I
it
think-
to you, Jim. You're fine. See ya.
I think he probably. I bet he probably lives somewhere about there. But
Aye,
he He needs to live close so he can use his Celtic season ticket. The miserable fuck. Anyway, we might as well, since we're here, since we dive into the actual tears and snotters, because we had Aberdeen on strings all week on Twitter, and I got you to do some deep diving into the pathetic history that is Aberdeen. And Kev, you'll have been there round about when they were founded, so Aberdeen. Fergie is the greatest manager that's ever lived, right? But everybody says he's the greatest manager that ever lived because what he did with Man United. Bollocks. I looked at Aberdeen's history. They are the Livingston of the North, the MK Dons. They had done fucking nothing in Scottish football. Not a jot until Alex Ferguson showed up. And for the 6 years or whatever it was he was there, he was a phenomenon. And they've done absolutely fuck all since the day he left. Crazy. Absolutely mental. Someone said to us, everybody knows that since Fergie left, it's been common knowledge that Aberdeen finish above Hearts more often than not in the league since Fergie left. No, incorrect. That is not true because we went through it and we worked it out. And I loved it for about 5 days solid. They were like, "Are you being relegated 5 times?" And I was like, "You really shouldn't talk about that because we have been relegated 5 times. We spent 6 seasons at the top flight. We've still earned more points than you, finished third more than you, finished above you more, won more trophies, played in Europe more." Embarrassing. Just give it a break. Kev, can you remember when they were shite? Well, they're shite right now, but can you remember when they were good?
I was going to say that was only 20 minutes ago, mate. I remember when they were good. No, but I am getting old, so from that point of view, my memory is actually starting to fade nowadays. So I can't think that far back.
Well, let's just move on for Aberdeen, saying get it up. You enjoy your trip home. We'll see you next year, lads. Thanks for coming.
Bye-bye.
Ando, let's talk us through your day yesterday. How did it start? Where was your watering hole before the game?
Well, technically my first watering hole was the 8:30 service from Newcastle to Edinburgh. I had a couple of pocket rockets. Well, I say a couple, I had 3 on the train on the way up. Then came down to meet you boys at Middleton's. Got in there. It was absolutely heaving. But then all of a sudden started to empty out. Now I'd since heard that. If I heard in there that it emptied out because there was the Pied Piper of the Gorgie Ultras was demanding that everybody go outside and set off pyro and have a sing-song out in the street. I was like, wait a minute.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, aye. So I was like, wait a minute, that definitely sounds like Corbett. And I'll be honest, I had no signal in there. I got loads of messages that came through to my phone afterwards, but Shanks was keeping me up to date saying, Corbett's outside! And everybody's to go out there. I was like, well, that's sound. Let me finish my drinks first. So finished because we'd loaded the table with bevy. As soon as I'm finished with all that, will come out, and that's where I came out and seen you. And that was mental, man. I've never seen that before. I've seen like people leave Easter Road and people go to Easter Road, and it can be a little bit mob-handed, a wee bit violent at times or whatever. But that was absolutely phenomenal. That walk from Middleton's down to the ground, outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And even just the build-up before it. You know what? I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to sound like a right wank when I say it. But all credit to the cops, because they could have steamrolled in and broke all that shit up yesterday. But they didn't. They just let it go because they seen it for what it was, which was just a peaceful carry on. Right? No one was getting done to. It was brilliant. So that was that. And then straight to the game. What happened after the game doesn't really matter. I went out and got pissed with the boys.
I was having a big Gorgie car boot sale because I've got all the stuff like the fucking hats and that for the ultras. I'm surprised. I'm gonna get CID at my door or something because they must have thought I was doing drug deals, man. My car was at the bottom of the street in Middleton. Every 2 minutes, folk were coming up to me, Corby, getting hats. I was like, hey, didn't my boot? You come with me. Fucking walking back up for the car every 2 minutes, man. It was a good laugh. It was decent. I don't in my old age I get bitter towards things like we were there mega early at Middleton's. They let a handful of folk in, then closed the doors, didn't let you in. Then it's cash only at the bar. Like they couldn't even make it any more obvious that they didn't want Hearts fans there. And I'm like, do you know what? For the fact that there's like 1,500 folk there or something, fuck them. Let's get a better pub. Find somewhere else to go.
Yeah.
Then give them our money because they treat you like pure shite. But that's me being a better daft.
I agree with that because they did, and obviously they being in the inside it, they locked the door and it was like one in, one out at that point. It's like if you go out, that's it. It doesn't matter. Someone else is getting in on the back of you. So the Shanks had to pay off the bouncer to go out to be able to get cash because for that
He always does that.
I know. I don't think he probably don't need to do that, but.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like he's Don Corleone or whatever the hell he's called for the Godfather. He's like, the bouncers see him coming and like everybody else is going out and smoking and vaping, but Shanks is like, oh, I slipped the steward or I slipped the guy on the door a tenner to let me out. I was like, mate, it's no jail.
It was 20 quid. Man.
You come and go as you want.
See that 20 quid that you paid the bouncer, right? Or the doorman, sorry. That 20 quid you could have just kept rather than spending 20 quid to go and get more 20 quids. You just like I didn't get it.
He doesn't get that concept.
No.
As soon as he has a baby, that concept goes out the window for Shanks. Although I do love having a bit because nothing pleases me more or makes me laugh more than watching his both feet off the ground jumping up and down to the chants makes me laugh every single time.
It's
just
hilarious.
I don't know what it is. His wee feet and his wee tiny legs just jumping up and down, singing
it's
the wrong song.
He kicks his feet up at the back like he's a 3-year-old laddie. It's amazing.
He does. It's great. Singing Viva Kujabi when no one else is. It's like, fuck's sake. It was the first thing I was outside Middleton's because I couldn't get in. The first song I heard from inside Middleton's was Viva Kujabi, and then folk going, Corbett Shanks in there, Corbett Shanks in there. I was like, I fucking know, I didn't need to look through the window. I can hear him. I can hear him trying to start Viva Kujabi, the one that no one else is starting.
I know he's in there, I can hear him, and I can also X-ray vision see the look of disgust on Ando's face as he starts his fucking pish. But anyway.
And to be fair, I know I'm an ultra now, so we're supposed to say all cops are bastards and all that stuff, right? But the actual fair play to them. They were decent, helped get us to the stadium, weren't they knobs about it or whatever, and like I said, they could have been technically steaming in and arresting you or fining you or whatever for pyro and all that sort of stuff, but they weren't. They were pretty decent. And like, I don't know, someone put in the group chat earlier one of the videos of the Hibs version of their ultras inside the stadium, then like playing their drum or whatever before the game, and it was honestly about 5 folk there. It was embarrassing. At one point I turned round when we were walking down that street. Kev, what's that street called when you walk down towards the bridge?
The bridge? Any idea?
Can't remember. Whatever that street is. I mean, I turned round at one point and looked up and was like, Jesus Christ, like this whole street is here walking to the game with us. And then I was laughing because I was like, it's fucking 5-1. There's going to be 1,500 Hearts fans get into the stadium and then go, fuck's sake, an hour left. The team's not even here yet. So I was like, luckily they've got that wee shitey bridge and that took us ages to get over. But game was
because you have to go through. You have to go through the mental queuing. It's like it's so stupid. It's like it's almost like it's for show, right? So you're getting patted down and everything like that. And Luke's just made a good comment in the chat because Shanks, bizarrely enough, thought he would be sleek it. He went into a shop, bought 4 cans of Copperbug, and stuck 2 cans in the ass pockets of his jeans. But as we all know, he wears his jeans all half off his ass anyway. So all you could see below his shirt line was 4 cans of Copperberg sticking at his arse. It's like that's it. Like you could have got into the ground with him, no bother. It's like the guy's searching. Again, it's just for show. It's a lot of nonsense. But to be honest, I think the timing was done quite well. I don't know whose decision it was to set off at that time. If it was you, Corbett, but well played because I think everybody made it in with a good 5 minutes to spare, which is what you want. Because the last thing you want to go in is miss a first minute goal.
To be fair, I forgot. Like you're right. We were all right because we were in early. But again, you see the pictures and you see the folk talking about it after the game, how ridiculous it is to get in to that stand. Like it is absolutely crazy. I'm not joking you. The boy in front of me got in with the 0-0 ticket, the derby for April last year. He got in with that ticket in front of me, scanned it, and then he went, and I was like, fuck's sake. I was like, what is going on? How does that even happen? It was crazy. And then I shouted to So shout out to some of the folk. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen somebody get searched, right? Boy in front of me got searched, patting him down. He pulls out a toothbrush and toothpaste. It's like,
Knew he was going to be out all night.
mate, to be fair, that could be classed as an offensive weapon down Leaf because none of those cunts have got teeth. So they must have like, put them in the back of the van. Like,
I was going to say, Tam will put that in the cut list, but Tam's not here. There's a way of being a wee weapon again. So
you can.
They,
you can deal with it.
You're saying about scanning the 0-0 ticket. That's fucking mental because I've seen two guys, one go in, right? So see if anyone's ever tried to do this, you'll know it never works, right? See, unless you're two incredibly skinny junky waifs, there's no way that you're getting two people in the turnstile as you go round, right? There was two guys trying to go in the turnstile just a few minutes after I'd come in because I was standing waiting on Shanks and Luke coming in, and the two boys came through. The first guy got through, he fucking bolted straight to the toilet, and the second guy, he kind of fell over. There was some sort of alarm went off on the turnstile as well, and Polis came out, that was it, huckled out, straight out the door, like, that's it. It might even have been that guy's ticket, I don't know, like the skinny guy might have just been the dodgy one or whatever, but it's like, getting him a 0-0 ticket that's out of date, that's mental. Especially when the old sneaky two in a bed getting through that thing would work, but it doesn't.
Same as well. It's like you get through, and as long as you've got a ticket, you can scan it anywhere. So you got a bottom tier ticket or a top tier ticket, doesn't matter. You'll get in anyway. So it's good. But pre-game was brilliant. And again, the difference between having folk in the stadium getting behind the team. When I know it sounds really stupid and it might all just be coincidental or whatever, but having the fans in and singing and getting the place going 20 minutes before kickoff, I think it feels like it's gained us an edge because I was at St Johnstone away. We were in 45 minutes before the game, drum gone, megaphone gone, songs gone, and we started brilliant. We're flying. Then St Mirren, we didn't get in quick enough, and we never had the stuff that we wanted, and we started pretty flat. And then you look at yesterday, we're in pretty early, getting the songs going and all that sort of stuff, and I think it translates into the parquet. I think that the players look buzzing to see the fans in, they look buzzing to hear the songs and stuff, and so well done to everybody for getting involved and all that sort of stuff. Like, I know it seems pure trivial just to walk to the stadium or join in a song, but it is genuinely making a massive difference because nothing's really changed in terms of the team, the way we've set up and all that sort of stuff. We've got pretty much the same team, the same players, but the players seem to be, you've seen it at the end yesterday, and we'll talk about the end as well. You've seen it, the players are buzzing. Like every single one of them try to get Sibbick to go front by himself and get them to sing songs. Like Cammy Devlin was basically begging to get the fucking drum and or the megaphone. He wanted the party going and stuff. So well done to everybody that gets involved because genuinely it's making such a big, massive difference. And that was probably one of the best pre-match atmospheres that I've been involved in, which was good. Shanks, Brads, what was your thoughts when you seen the team? Were you surprised or?
No, not at all. The only thing I'd questioned was a fit Kingsley. Would he have been more better? Well, he been better suited in that back three. I know they've been really, really good, but Derbies are a different kettle of fish. So no, I was. As Ando's harped on and said, you didn't change a winning team. That's 2 clean sheets in a row, or three clean sheets.
Yep,
three clean sheets in a row. So you've got to earn your place in there. But no, I was pleased.
Kev, Kingsley, what do we do? Because he's clearly superb, but who do you drop? You can't drop any of them in the back. The defence has never looked as strong as what it does right now.
No, but that's exactly what you want. You want to be in that situation. You want to be in a position of going, well, is he your best defender? We'll argue that and debate it all night, but he can't get a place because the boys that are currently occupying those positions are doing a job and doing a job very, very well at this moment in time. So, it must be frustrating for him, but he is as professional as any other player in the club at the moment, and will fully understand that I've got no right to expect my place back in the city when we're keeping clean sheets and winning games.
Exactly. Right, I'm having to do a tam. So you talk amongst yourselves. Or somebody do the Z-Fooks. What the Z-Fooks?
I'll
You
do
do
it
them and then
now.
I'll... Right, and I'll be back.
Right. I've got 4 for yous, and the guys on YouTube 4. So I just quickly wrote them down. Some easy ones again, some difficult ones.
Ando's already lost a will to
Ando,
live.
you
I
watching
fucking hate this, man, right? Because I feel
he
like
hates this
I
one.
do hate it because it's like I've got a good memory for goals, got a good memory for teams, and all that sort of stuff. See what you done before Hearts? Don't give a fuck. See what you done after Hearts? Could give even less of a fuck, unless if like obviously you're a superstar or whatever. But like. I struggle with this one. I don't have
Well,
enough space in
these
my head for
are-
all this knowledge.
These are 4 superstars, Ando, so you'll get these no bother at
Fucking
all.
brilliant, right? I made up, make me look like Helen Hunt again.
Right. The first one, right? Celtic to Bolton, Bolton to Peterborough, Peterborough to Falkirk, Falkirk to Hearts, Hearts to Kelly, then Kelly. So Celtic, Bolton, Peterborough, Falkirk, Hearts, Kelly, Partick. Kev, you look fairly confident there.
Yes. Do the answers at the end.
I can do the answers at the end. Right, player 2. Man United, Port Vale, Horsens, Aarhus, Hearts, Hibs, Edmonton, St Mirren, Airdrie.
Fuck you, they're going too quick, man. I need to write these down so I can see it. Right,
Right,
Man
you can write them
United, Man United 2.
To Port Vale,
Right.
Port Vale to Horsens.
Oh, aye, them. Who the fuck are
the
they for?
Danish team, I think.
Okay.
Aarhus are also Danish. That's the next team. Then Hearts. Then Hibs. Boo. Then Edmonton. St Mirren. And then Airdrie. Third player. This is a really short one. Hearts. Ross County. Livy. Cowdenbeath. And he's a class striker. He scored 5 goals in 52 games.
Why did we let him go, man? It seems
I
like a career guy.
And the last one is Melbourne, Hearts, Leicester, Leeds, Ipswich, back to Melbourne. Right, let's see if I've not seen anything on YouTube. Anybody's jumped on that? Obviously, they're as bored of this fucking feature as Sando is. So
Not a case of being bored. I don't have the knowledge for it. Like if it's results, teams, aye, fine. But no.
Corbett, you missed the first one, so you can have the first guess here. Celtic, Bolton, Peterborough, Falkirk, Hearts, Kelly, Partick.
Wait, can I? I think I've got.
Do you want a time frame?
Me?
I'm going to instantly.
Aye.
I'm just going to instantly guess Austin McCann.
It is not Austin McCann.
Right.
Kev?
I've got one of them. And I reserve the right to be the first guy you come to.
Right, that's fine.
Right.
So that one I believe is Baggio.
It's not. Oh no, sorry. You're saying Stevie?
What number one?
Fulton.
Aye.
Fuck you, Kev.
Fulton.
I just said I reserve the right to go first on one of them. Right? The number one, Steve
That was the
Fulton,
first
is
one.
the only one I knew. You fucking
That was the
arsehole.
one.
You said I know one of them. I thought you didn't mean the first one.
That's
He banks
the
it.
only one. Kev,
Right,
when are we
second
getting
one.
rid of Kev, man? We're going to chuck him off this fucking chat. Right?
Kev, how did you forget that Ando always comes first?
Exactly. Made a career of it, mate. I'm 41 years old now. A damn professional career at that. I've never once finished second.
Right. Man United, Port Vale, Horsens, Aarhus, Hearts, Hibs, Edmonton, St Mirren, Airdrie. Ando, you can go first on
I
this
don't
one.
care. I had number one. I've got no idea who this is. Hearts. I'm
Hearts to Hibs, there's not that many.
trying to think who's went the other way.
14-15 season.
Who the hell did we get from Aarhus?
It was James Keaton, though, sitting in a bathroom. I got the wrong guy.
I don't know that. You maybe have a different search history for me.
You know, have a cardboard cutout of him or something in the bath.
I can't
Is it
read that.
Eckersley?
It is Adams Eckersley.
You know, remember that? Oh, I remember they had a pure bromance, and there was like a video or there was a picture kicking about, and James Keatons was in the bath and had a cardboard cutout of Adam Eckersley in the bathroom.
Well, cheers.
It's still too soon. It's still too soon.
Like,
for
see
me to
that?
get rid of Eckersley for
Cheers, Corbett.
pushing you.
You got me a point there. I wouldn't have got that if you hadn't said it.
Right, Ando, you need to get this.
Stop
Ross
picking
County,
on me, you bastard!
Hearts, Ross County, Livy, Cowden and Beef.
The only person that I can think that went to Ross County, but no, it's not. Nah. Is that a
He's
goalkeeper?
a Livy boy. Nah,
Fuck knows.
he's a Broxburn boy.
Doesn't help me. I'm not for Broxburn. Kev's stays
Double
there.
G.
There's only two boys for Broxburn.
Gary Glitter.
Played for Hearts.
Gary Glenn.
It is Gary Glenn.
Right.
5 goals. I thought he had more than that in 52 games.
I think he scored 2 against the Hibs. That bought him a
Yeah,
little bit of
right.
time, but that was sadly not enough.
And the last one, Melbourne, Hearts, Leicester, Leeds, Ipswich, Melbourne, Corbett. Also, only 1 goal against the Hibs as well. There you go.
Mate. I know. I was thinking about this yesterday. If I was really, really, really bitter,
Which you are.
I would go through and compare. Lawrence Shankly's played 3 games against Hibs in a Hearts jersey, and has scored 4 goals. I'd be interested to see how many Derby goals Derek Reardon, Gary O'Connor, fucking Jason Cummins, other heroes. I was very interested to see how many goals they've had against Hearts. I'm pretty sure he'll be coming close to. He must be closing in already in one season, coming in close to nearly equaling the record Derby goal scorers.
Challenge
In one
accepted.
season.
Their most
I won't
prolific
do it.
against us in modern time. O'Connor.
I don't know. I think Cummins probably scored more against us than Gary O'Connor.
I'll get you the
Derek
exact
Reardon,
numbers
probably.
tomorrow, mate.
Right,
I'm not going to do it live because it'll take my attention away from what we're chatting about. But I'll put it in your inbox and you can go fucking mental on Twitter with it.
Oh, I will. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Right, we'd spoke about the problem that is Stephen Kingsley. A great problem we have. It's a problem that we've spoken about before because if we continue how we're going, it's a massive problem for Craig Halkett, because Toby
Exactly.
Sibbick, James Hill, Kai Riles don't get dropped because they have been superb, as has Xander Clark.
Yep.
Mikey Smith, brilliant again. That role, the balance seems to be working for us, and Cochrane is Cochrane. What a headache to have for Robbie, innit?
I absolutely couldn't agree more. It is good because it encourages everybody else to be better, because you know that if you don't do well, then you're gonna lose your place. But the trouble is that with the strength and depth that we have just now, it's like you take that starting 11. I know I always say don't change a winning team, and I'm perfectly aware that it's a ridiculous statement to make, because the final team that wins the game might not be the same team you started with. But in principle, never change a winning team. Harped on about that loads before, but these players are making themselves undroppable with not so much the level of the performances, but the results that you're grinding out, right? So like Aberdeen, we didn't play that great, right? Hibs yesterday didn't play that great either, but they're still smashing out a 5-0 and a 3-0 respectively, right? Who do you pick to drop, right? So it's not going to be Toby Henry, as he's now forever will be known after that 85-yard run or 90-yard run or whatever the hell it was. Even though they're not playing at their best, they're still not bad enough to drop. It's a perfect headache to have.
Brad, I've rewatched the game. Obviously, I was there. I watched 95% of it through
The flare.
through the flare and gaps in the flare. So I really like to rewatch it to see what was happening. And again, at the time, I felt we didn't play very well. But having rewatched it, to be honest with you, I don't think we played that bad. To be honest, like, we're away from home. We're in a derby. They have to win it. Like, their season's fucked if they don't. I thought the thing that impressed me the most is that this team's confident and it has confidence in what they're doing's right, and they do not. That didn't matter whether it was Aberdeen putting us under pressure, Hibs putting us under pressure at Tynecastle, Hibs putting us under pressure yesterday. We do not change the way that we play because we trust the process, and that takes.
Yeah, I think so. Watching it again, it suited Hibs' long ball into the channels. It was a Route 1 game. We've been playing our best football by coming back in through the middle, back in through Snodgrass, playing that pass that misses the first player, goes to the striker, then they lay it off. That's how we scored 3 or 4 of our last couple of goals. That pitch was an absolute tatty field yesterday. That killed any sort of finesse play that Hearts have been playing, and they had to resort back to the kind of hoof long ball play, and it was such a messy game, and it didn't suit the way that we played. But to stick at it, to keep and learn, like, they could have torn us apart if they kept going down the channels, but it just took a wee bit of kind of settling in to learn just how to handle that pressure. Obviously, we hit the post in the first 5 minutes and then hit the post in 2 minutes to go, but other than that, was Xander Clark pressed?
No.
Did he have the masses to do?
One save to make, and even then, not really.
One save from McGeady, and to be fair, that was for the cameras. He probably could have caught that.
Right. And if you're going to start, again, we talk about this before, if you're going to start going through what ifs and if Manty had balls, then, you know, if Shanklin had just kept up his run a tiny wee bit more, he taps in the rebound for Sibbick. He's kind of stopped it in the gamble that Sibbick was going to shoot. But Shanklin cut inside and sort of scuffed one that he had when you look at his finish for his actual goal, he's got the capabilities of doing better there. It's shot in the first half. Smith should have burst in it. If you got to start playing the anti-Hud Boz stuff, then you will be here all night. The facts are, the way we play 3-4-3, we take risks. We deliberately, Fiorentina did it to us and all that. They deliberately bring pressure onto ourselves. We bring them into areas of the park where they're overload, they're overcommit, and you trust that Cammy Devlin or Robert Snodgrass will take the ball with 1 or 2 on them and put it into the gap in behind them. And then Smith and Cochrane will go, Gino will go, Mackay will go, Shanklin will go. When it comes off, we score goals like you seen against Aberdeen. The third goal yesterday's kind of, again, the risk and reward thing as to what we like today with teams. Bring them in, make them commit, overload, and then spring because we've got pace all over the team. So I don't think we played well. Like Robbie said it perfectly after the game. We have passages of play that we like, patterns of play that we like. Couldn't get them going. Pitch was terrible, absolutely awful. You've also got hammer throwers in there as well, like Porteous and Rocky or whatever. Like they just dive into challenges, they throw elbows, they're kind of all over the place. So the last thing you want is to be playing balls into Shanklin's feet and give them the opportunity to come through behind and potentially injure you or damage you or whatever. You want to turn them all the time and make them face their goal and run. So I don't think we were anywhere best, and we still scutted them 3-0. Absolutely outrageous. It's so good. Kev, we've not mentioned it. We have mentioned him, but we'll keep mentioning him because Toby Sibbick, what a football player he's turned into.
Toby Henry. Or
Toby
Maldini. Aye.
Toby Carvery. He's went from Toby Carvery to Toby Maldini. What a football player.
We said this last week. You know the transformation in him from early part of October. And I think one of the games that he played was the RFS game at home. And he had a great game that night, and that just built his confidence. And I know his little interview after the game yesterday, he talks about how the fact that he had a goal chopped off in the derby at Tynecastle on, what was it, January 2nd or 3rd or whatever it was, and he was absolutely distraught that had been chopped off. So to get his goal yesterday, and to also, you got to remember that was the 94th minute of the game, and he's ran quicker than any other player I've seen from one end, from one box to the other. It's great to see him play like that. Great to see him playing with confidence, and we spoke about it a few minutes ago. There's no reason why we wouldn't actually have him maybe first man in the team at the moment.
How good is the Hearts team that he said in his interview? Our fucking centre backs are planning their celebrations.
Mate, I know. again. Mate, that
How good are we now?
that is
How
my
good are we now that that's fucking happening?
all the commentary that's came out of it. Oh yeah, John Collins, Big Tatty, he'd sitting greeting again, saying that
We
they should have
need-
hung with.
we need
We'll
to
talk
speak
about
about
that in
that.
depth in a minute. Is Toby Sibbick saying that he passed the ball to Humphreys in the middle of the park and so shouted, "We're in!" Like, we are in. I'm like, that's my centre half. That is he's 25 yards away from his own goal, and he's saying, "I'm in. I'm gonna score here." That is absolutely outrageous. And why do I keep saying Shanks? Why have I got Shanks on the mind? Because whatever. Brad's the thing. What I loved yesterday, right, and we touched about it there, is the sort of mirror images of what we are. You have Toby Sibbick, who's quiet, reserved. He just gets on with the game. He doesn't say anything daft. He doesn't fight, pick fights, gesture to the crowd, play up to the cameras, nothing whatsoever. You hold the mirror up to Porteous and Rocky. Rocky's broke his leg trying to half Devlin, that's led to us scoring. Porteous has tried to wipe Gino out because he's lost to Hingway and get a wee cheer for the crowd. We've scored for the free kick. Every almost chance that Hibs had yesterday, Toby Sibbick was there, took the ball after them, put a block in, cut a pass out.
Has
run a
Rocky
header.
actually broke his leg?
I don't know, whatever.
All right.
It's done.
Well, let's hope so. Never mind.
but it's that like the two polar opposites were just on show all day yesterday, weren't they?
I think so, and as you've rightly said, it's easy to play up to those moments. Like, nothing actually pleased me more than it being Porteous' fault for that first goal.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have to kick Gino, but he wanted to do it to get a wee cheer and a wee clap, as you said. Then fucks the header in the second part, doesn't he? Rallies into the back of his own man. He totally fucked it there for them. That makes me happy, because believe me, see if Toby or Hill had done anything stupid like that, I'd be fucking fuming, because you've got to be more switched on. You've got to be cleverer than that, and that seems to be part of his game. He's maturing into that position, and he's only what is he? 23?
Yeah, young guy.
And he's now leading that back line. That's really impressive when you've got internationals on the left of you and a boy that's just been bought for, was it £1 million from Bournemouth on the right? So that's incredible for him, and hopefully he keeps it going.
And I think, like you said, it's his sort of confidence or his maturity in the game. And that, for me, see, having rewatched it, right, focusing Hearts were more clinical than Aberdeen on Wednesday, were more clinical than Hibs. Yes, we were. We took our chances when we had to. Hearts are just cleverer. They're just better than both sides. They played the game better. Gino's goal, for example, right? Hibs mark zonally. Fine well, you put a ball in the box, you're going to get big Yogi Hughes, Porto, what to knock somebody out and win the header and get a cheer and all that sort of stuff. So Gino just stood 10 yards off from it. Fine, win the fucking header and I'll smash the knockdown in, because you hang way in zonal. You've not got anybody there anyway, and Gino's sitting by himself in the middle of the box because Hibs haven't paid any attention to Hearts. They think that Lawrence Shankland is playing as a number 9 through the middle, and haven't realised that Shankland plays as a 10 and Gino plays through the middle, and they've left a guy that scored 4 goals in his last 5 games or whatever it is standing 10 yards off to put the ball into the back of the net. And I think all the way through the game, again, you look at Rocky's challenge for the third goal. I think it's Devlin. He tries to wipe out,
sure it is,
injures himself, and then mirror that to Devlin's challenge on Johan to win the ball back for the second goal. Do you know what I mean? He goes in hard but wins the ball, wins it fairly and moves it on, and we score from it. Hearts are just better. They're just cleverer. They're calmer in the crazy moments. They show cool heads, and it's superb to see, Kevin.
Sure is. A lot of credits. That tenacity that we talk about Devlin was evident yesterday, because it wasn't just that challenge that he won. He won a couple of other challenges as well that he had no right to win. And I think just from that point of view, he's that player, and we've said this before. He's that player that we would all be if we had a Hearts shirt on and we were playing yesterday.
A wee fanny.
Maybe Maybe we wouldn't be as good at them, but we would want to. We believe that we would be that good.
I think, like you said, obviously plays alongside Snodgrass, who's absolutely caviar. And it's funny that Snodgrass probably potentially hadn't had his best games the last, but we see a different side to Snodgrass now. But we've been seeing caviar passes and controlling midfield and beating men just by the position, his first touch and all that. Yesterday, you seen him flying into tackles, barking at the team, marshalling the midfield, making sure that we were where we needed to be, and just keeping everybody round about him level-headed. And that's the thing. Like we've said before, and we're maybe biased because we see it every week, but it's not until you see you come up against an Aberdeen or a Hibs or a St Mirren, the folk that are supposed to be the closest to us, and you see the calibre of player that we're able to rely on, and you see someone like Snodgrass, it becomes fairly evident as to why we are the third best team in Scotland, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. It's like you look at like what am I right in saying that Snodgrass is 34, 35? I think maybe 35 now. Like he's
just turned 34, isn't he?
Is he? All right. Okay.
I don't know, but something like that.
But he's getting on a shift, right? But the guy, like you rightly called out, he's not been like probably the full 100% of like superbness over his last couple of games. But yesterday for me, I seen something that from him that I hadn't seen in previous games, which is in previous games I've seen him be the maestro that absolutely marshals the midfield, right? And that's a bit of a fucking mouthful, but the maestro that marshals the midfield, I like that. But yesterday he was a battler, right? So he's got loads of different facets to his game, and I think he obviously is one of these players that is going to he's the kind of guy that you bring in that just elevates everything, right? So he brings everything up a level because he knows how to handle himself, whether it's through battle-hardened experience or just by virtue of the fact that he played down south, and that in a far better league than what we're in. It's just like you bring someone in like that, it lifts everybody up, and then they take a learning for that and they adapt to the situation they find themselves in. Yesterday was a bit of a battle, but not in the sense of like kicking people up and down the park for everybody involved, but certain people had to do that. He done it well, and hats off to him. The guy is absolutely brilliant. Like it might have you know what, if he tries something that doesn't come off, fine, fuck it, give him the benefit of the doubt. No one is perfect 100% of the time. But he is as close to it in that position as we've got.
So me and Kev were talking about this on Wednesday, and it's almost like it's a bit of bad habits we used to do with Naismith, and it was everyone's has to go through him. I don't think that needs to be the case. His best games when he plays naturally, it does come through him, but like for instance on Wednesday, was running to be 5 yards away from the player, then take the ball off him. That doesn't need to happen. It doesn't. Not every period of play has to go through him, and it does become, maybe it's been too much the last two games, and that's why you see more mistakes, because every single ball comes from him. If we start playing him more naturally and just let it happen, I think he has a better game rather than trying to force it. That's the only caveat I would have.
Kev, I think the comparable thing there is that's exactly right. We've seen that with Naismith, and what I used to call it out all the time is that Stephen Naismith had played at the highest level, knows what it's like, made the sacrifices, etc., etc. He's barking at fucking Harry Cochrane or fucking Ross Callahan or Connor Randall or whoever it is. They're never going to reach that level. They're no good enough. But Robert Snodgrass barking at players that can go to that level. Do you know? They're players that have got the potential to go there. Devlin, Benny, Grant, Humphreys, Shankland. All these players, what Snodgrass is demanding from them is in their capabilities, and that's the difference. Naismith never had that luxury.
Aye, these got that ability, and they can achieve a hell of a lot more, given especially some of them their ages. It will be interesting to see Snodgrass playing alongside Benny, because I think that what that would allow us to do is Benny would be able to hold that sort of position, and that would then give Snodgrass the chance to go further forward. The issue there is, when are we going to see Benny back in a Hearts shirt? I don't think it'll be this season. The way
Way to
things.
kill the fucking buzz, Kev. Thanks for that.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry,
And
buddy.
then else at a railroad. Fuck me.
Has Benny just become one of these players that we can only remember him for 3 games and he was good, and we now think he's like the best thing ever?
Mate,
So-
Benny was superb. I will fight
was so
anybody that I will fight anybody that wants to challenge that.
He's not kicked the ball in 7 years.
Again, that is very true. But I thought the first half, the opening exchanges, again, I think they just sum up where the two clubs are right now. We always say for it, the first 15 minutes in a derby are about win your battles, settle down, take the atmosphere, get used to it, etc., and then start to go play football or whatever. And I think the two opening chances, the one that hit the post, the guys try to do a back heel flick, etc. If it comes off, it's a brilliant goal, etc. But he's got time to take a touch. Doesn't have to do a back heel hang or whatever. You need to take a touch. You could pick a pass. You can whatever. And then Gino's got the opportunity where he's just fuck it. I'm shooting straight away. Literally, I've got an opportunity here to just smash it, and he did it. And I think the two chances just sum up where both clubs are right now. This very second is they both would have been avoidable goals. They didn't score, we did, and the rest is history. I've said it. I don't know if it's something that's passed down from generation to generation. Kev and Ando and you and Brad, your dads will have told you the same things, and folk listen on YouTube or whatever where they've heard the same things. My dad always said the same stuff. There's always a point in a derby at Easter Road where you can sense that they've shot their load and that's them done.
Chucked it.
You can, whether it be a shot wide, a save, a interception, a booking, us flashing one wide. I say that all the time with the Ryan Stevenson game. They absolutely pummeled us for the opening quarter of the match or whatever. Ryan Stevenson got one half chance and whizzed it past, and the atmosphere died, and they thought, "Oh shit, we haven't take our chances here." And there's a chance we forgot that actually we've not scored, but there's a good chance they will. And then within 5 minutes, Stevenson takes a touch and bangs it in the top corner, and that's what I felt last night. It would have been more poignant if they'd actually had fans in the stadium. I don't know what was going on, if it's a protest or something. I know that they're doing shite. I don't know if it's COVID restrictions in Leith or whatever, but if there would have been a full stadium, that you would have felt it a wee bit more than we did yesterday. But I think both those opportunities there, I think, show the difference in where the clubs are right this very second. Anything else that not happened in the first half you want to talk about, or anything on YouTube that we need to
One
talk
thing
about?
that caught my eye actually, Liam L, and I'll need to fact check this because I don't know if it's right or not, but I'll take it as read that it is. But Ryan Porteous' only win in a derby is when he laughed in Cochrane's face in the 1-1.
He's never won a
Never
derby.
won a derby.
That's
Never won a
fucking
derby.
brilliant because that
7 years.
that wee arsehole's clearly on his way out of there. You know what? See you later, you prick. And
Toby Sibbick has never lost a derby.
there you go. There'll be a few team that have probably never lost a derby now.
Loads of them, mate.
Exactly.
Loads of them.
9 unbeaten.
Elliot Freer. Elliot Freer.
I just mean the current team.
Aye, there'll be loads of them. But I liked this. Was it Tam McManus in his opportunity to cement his legacy as a Hibs hero by winning the derby on Sunday, and he got scudded 3-0, made an arse of himself.
So what
Fucking
would that give
superb.
him? One win. One win.
Absolutely superb.
Off you fuck.
Brad's one of the things that obviously they go in 1-0 at half time. The away end's absolutely bouncing as you would expect. Big thing for the second half, and I think having rewatched it, they're looking to the bench and they're gambling. They're hoping for Hail Marys. They're looking and saying, who the fuck's that guy? Like a Norwegian under 18s specialist or whatever, some lone guy they got for Rainbow FC, and we're turning to our bench and bring on Stephen Kingsley, Scotland international, Stephen Humphreys that scored in the last Edinburgh derby, Nathaniel Axon that's just played in the World Cup, George Grant who set up Stephen Humphreys in the last derby. The difference in quality at both sides is we brought players on that can play in our system and actually took us up a level took us up a notch. They're fucking random, looking at a team sheet going, who's number 28? Right, bring him on. Let's see what happens. And I think that's the biggest difference of the two clubs right now, isn't it?
I think, I can't remember who it was that said online, our bench would be a starting 11 for everybody below us. Everybody below us in the league, every team there, Aberdeen, Hibs, St Mirren, Livy, who are all doing well just now, all those boys would be starting 11 players. That's the massive difference. How many years have we gone through journeyman and absolutely shit on the bench, and now we've got a problem of we've got too many good players. Who's going to be fighting over these positions? Blah 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 blah. It's honestly fantastic, and everybody that came on added something. It wasn't like it was a like for like. They were actually adding value to the game, adding a wee bit a different dynamic, or adding extra energy, or a wee bit extra in that position. Like it's great.
Right. When you look at it, Kev, I think they brought McCurdy on, a guy that it was videoed in clubs saying fuck Hibs 2 months ago, never scored a goal. I don't even have a shot on target. Who else did they bring on? I couldn't even tell you the rest of the guys. Who
What the boy Henderson on, didn't they?
Yes.
He came on when the boy McCurdy, is he not just like the Aldi version of like Riordan, isn't he?
You're stealing that from the group chat. Someone called them the Poundland Riordan. But aye. In fact,
I've
Graham
never seen that,
Duthie.
did
Graham Duthie is said it tonight as well, just a minute ago in the YouTube chat. But yeah, aye. The Poundland Riordan, and I completely endorse that. Correct.
they're both rancid tramps.
I did see Graham's comment. But Graham's comment is that the only time he seen Corbett happy yesterday was just seconds after Toby Sibbick's put the third in, because he then realised that the game was safe at that point.
Mate, wasn't safe. I still had my head in my hood until it was full time. I was like that when we played Aberdeen and we were 5-0 up. I was still like, oh my god, if they score, it could quickly go to 5-2, and then you never know where do you go for there. So, but aye, it was class. What were we talking about? Why were we talking about? Oh, aye, the folk that came off the bench then. Aye, the quality in the bench. Like, there you go. Like, the fact that we can't even... We've sat here, and again, not that we give a fuck about them, but I keep saying it. They are just going along the same road that we were with Cathro, Levine, and all that sort of stuff. The Mallory Martin could be John Lego that they started on Sunday or whatever the fuck he's called. It's the same thing. They've just got no identity, taking total punts. David Marshall. Why is folk not talking about David Marshall?
He's
absolute huddy.
Pish.
Terrible.
Absolutely pish.
Terrible.
He could have walked to the edge of his box and picked up that ball for Sibbick.
Take that away. His positioning. What is he doing? His starting position. Terrible. Rubbish. He's crap. Chris Cadden. Folk tell me that are my Hibs pals that he's a good player. Where? Is there a different Chris Cadden? Because I've not seen it. He looks absolute murder. We've said for ages, and folk have said, oh, you're just bitter jambos, and he's hard done being chased it. Ryan Porteous is not a good football player. He is terrible. He gets too caught up in the whole be a hard man. The best thing he can do if he wants to go on to be a proper football player is get out of Scotland. Get out of Scotland, go get some culture, go learn or whatever. Rocky Bashiri nutmegged himself with his own header. Like, you didn't get any more indications that these guys are shite. And it's just, it's terrible. But I remember sitting in the stand where they beat us 3-1 and knocked us out of the Scottish Cup the last time, and looking at their team and being genuinely annoyed. You know, John McGinn, Scott Allen, Jason Cummins, players that you're thinking, fucking hell, our equivalent is Cole Stockton. It wasn't, but that's an example. Isma Concalves, Ross Callahan, like Jamie Walker's running about trying to win the game by himself because he's the only one that cares. You know, he's on the radio after the game saying they're in there listening to music. We've been beat 3-1. They're dancing and listening to music. Like, I'm embarrassed to be in there. And that's what it's like watching Hibs. I think, who are these guys, man? If you're a Hibs fan, you're watching it. Who are these people? Noah Kenny, the day, whoever that guy is, he's on Twitter. Apparently he's on loan at came for Leeds or something. He's on loan at Ross County with Hibs. He's sitting liking all the Hearts tweets for the day. And then saying, oh, my account was hijacked. Of course it was, mate. Oh, fucking course it was. They're just an absolute shambles, Kev, and I absolutely love it.
I'm
not surprised. Sorry, Kev.
No, I'm just going to say
There you
I'm
go.
actually disappointed in Corbett for actually raising these particular points. All it takes is for one of them to actually listen to this podcast, and they're going to go, light bulb moment, and they're going to start actually trying to do something
They
correct.
won't. They won't, Kev. They won't, Kev. You seen it today on Twitter? Somebody said the way out of this problem is to treat our tea lady bad. Nothing to do with tactics, nothing to do with recruitment. They start for the top and make sure that they were mean to the tea lady. Brilliant, mate. You make sure you're mean to the tea lady. I'm sure that'll knock us right off our stride. Brad, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think Lee Johnson's had a massive impact on these players. And the fact that he's been mouthing off recently about not being good enough. And I've heard rumours, and like everybody has, he spoke individually to all the boys and told them, you're not going to be involved in my future plans, but you're starting Saturday.
Aye.
Or you're starting Sunday, you're playing on Wednesday. He's having conversations telling them, basically, you're going to be out of a job, but go and do well for me. Like, how can you possibly... players aren't going to show up for you.
Mate,
If they
and
know
you're
they're
right.
out the door and they're getting chased, they're not going to do that. They're not going to have that passion. They're not going to have that drive.
And
It's,
I think
aye.
the most damning comments he's made is we've played football at shite level, and it'll be the same when you go up to the Hingway level. There'll come a point where each player will know if they're not good enough, right? Players come off the pitch, you know who I know. If I said to him, you played well today, and he played shite, and he knows he played shite, he'll be annoyed me about Corbett. I was terrible. I know, but I don't know why I say you played terrible because you're my mate. And he's like, no, I'm no daft. I know I played shite. So players hear that they're not good enough all the time, right? So that's kind of water off a duck's back. It's what's expected. If you're beat 3-0 with your biggest rivals, you expect your manager to say the players
Yeah,
weren't
it's a
good enough.
professional
Right?
game. It should be like that.
Exactly. But I think what's damning is he said that they're not intelligent enough to play his way. Now that's different. That's an absolute kick in the teeth because you're thinking, well, wait a minute. If your training sessions are shite, your tactics are shite, the formation doesn't work, and you're coming us to say that we're not intelligent enough when you're the dafty that doesn't realise that we're marking zonal and there's no one in the second phase, or you're playing a right back, a centre back. Players start. That's what pisses players off, and that's why his comments are comedy gold after the game. Did you see his interview on Friday or whatever it was when he said he went total David Brent? I've not even spoken about it yet. When they played Motherwell, did you see his interview he did for Sky? And they had him sitting on the edge of his desk.
No.
Mate, it was brilliant. And they had the camera zoomed out, so he was like that, like sitting on the edge of his
manager of the
desk.
month plaque or something like that.
His wee tiny legs not touching the ground, and he was talking about football and phases of playing that. And then on Friday there, he started going on about to say how he likes to be in mingling with the fans, and it was blown out of proportion, like because he should be able to go out for a meal before a derby and all that. And he went for like pure water off a duck's back. I'm no bothered to absolutely try to defend himself, being like, it's professional. It's unprofessional. It's deformation of character. No, I say you're a fucking idiot. You've not got a clue what you're talking about. And the fact that what are we now? We're 24 hours after the event, and he's still here. I'm putting out. He's not getting sacked.
And he's also not done a wee interview with Hibs TV because I've refreshed that every 20 minutes today.
You're a
He's done
fucking
it.
sadistic wank. I love it. And
I
by the
know.
way, see when you
I've been doing
download it, send
all
it
day.
to me. I'll watch
I
it on
sent
repeat.
it to us.
Right.
Exactly. I've done the exact same thing. And when I was watching my Hibs podcasts today, one of them was saying that again yesterday he didn't go into the changing room. He didn't go into the changing room or whatever. He just, I don't know, went to Elios with the Hearts players or something. I don't know what he was up to, but he never went in after the game. And
See, I don't get that.
the longer he stays, the better.
That whole I don't get this. Like, why can you not go into the dressing room, right? Because there's two ways to look at it. The first way is, right, the guy's not going to be here in a couple of weeks' time or a couple of months' time. The board will get raging with him and they'll sack him. And right, you know what? Him not going into the dressing room is probably a good thing overall because it doesn't damage the players as much. But when you've got the manager coming out with incendiary things like you're not clever enough, what was the word? Not intelligent enough. To play the system that I want to play, right? That just stinks of it's not my fault. It's fucking your fault. Now, that might be the case, right? The Hibs, they're just... They have absolutely no direction just now, right? Like, just even in the way they play the game, it's absolutely horrific, right? It's all confused, right? And the people that they're buying as well. It's like, you look at them, like, what happened? That boy Melkerson, bought him, fucked him off. The bought that boy McCurdy again. Don't want to labour the point too much. It's all just aimless. It's like, what needs to happen, right? And I kind of almost agree with the point where I know you're ripping piss at him earlier, saying that be nasty to the tea lady, but somebody needs to come in with a bit of direction. And while he's in charge, Hibs are fucked, and I'm all for it, right?
Aye, mate,
I can't figure out if it's Johnson or if it's the management above him. Like, what's his name? Ron Gordon, is that right? Am I making that up?
Aye.
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 I don't know where the problem sits. The players, some of them might be good enough, but not good enough to get in our team. But they're good enough to be better than the position they're in. But can't believe I'm saying
They get
that.
exactly what they deserve. They
Aye.
get exactly what they deserve.
Strike that. Fuck them all.
Let's talk about the man. 20 goals, beats John Robertson's record that I think stood since 1991. He's now got 20 goals in a season. Still 23rd of January, 31 goals is John Robertson's record league goals scored.
Is it?
Brad's will quickly go around the table. Is he beating it?
No.
You don't think he'll get
29 or 30.
Kev?
It'll be one shy.
I don't think he will beat it. I think if we're looking at just league goals anyway, I don't think so. I think he'll get to maybe 26, 27 as the league goals, but I don't think he'll beat the 31. Love to be proved wrong.
Ando, what you thinking?
Smashing it clean out the water.
I'm on the boat with you. I'm on that as well. I think where he is, the fact that we've not even spoke about his penalty yesterday. Like, sometimes you just got to say what a penalty that was. But we'll talk about that in a wee second. That's where we're going. Penalties alone, and the fact that the establishment club that we are, we just get VAR decisions all the time. He'll get at least a couple of penalties every other week. So I can see him. But the other, I suppose, the caveat to that is are we worried that this will be the only season we see Lawrence Shankland in a Hearts jersey? Brad, you worried about that, or?
Well, I think context has got to be there. If the money's right and it's about going forward as a club and all that kind of pish about building for the future, it makes a good decision to sell him on. But selfishly, fuck it, I would keep him and rather let him go on a free if he gives us another couple of years of 20, 30 goals a season.
Well, Kev, here's the argument, right? Now, he scored in Europe, he scored domestically, he scored in the cup competitions, etc. Celtic wouldn't sell Kyogo for 5 million. Why would we sell Shankland for 5 million?
100%. I don't I don't personally see him going, if I'm being honest with you. I think it's that element of he knows perfectly well as club captain. He's also going to be getting games week in, week out. If he moves on, he's, I guess, from a point of view of him wanting to achieve as high as he can in football itself, he'll want to move to a bigger club. So if he goes to either the Ugly Sisters at the other end of the M8, how many games is he going to play? Is he going to be playing every single game? That would be something that would maybe run through his head. Similarly, if he was to move down south, again, yeah, great to have that ability to go and mix it with those kind of players. But again, are you going to be playing every single game? It just depends on him as an individual. And Brad's is right as well. You know, if the money's right from the club's point of view, then you've got to weigh that all that together. But yeah, I mean, I think genuinely he'll be here for a few years.
How many players get the opportunity to potentially be a legacy at a club?
Aye.
Not just, they were a good player when they were here. Like, Robbo level legacy. That is something you've got to weigh up. If he's hitting those numbers, he go down in folklore for Hearts history. And he has the potential to do that. It's crazy that we're even talking about that.
And my thing to is, and I hope, and I know the club will be, and Kyle Lafferty is a good barometer as to what that is, because you're right. A legacy at a football club, what do you want? Do you want to chase money in the bank, etc., etc.? Set yourself up, fine. Then if that's your ambition in life, then do that because you got a short window. Go do it. But do you want to look back on your big house and your fancy car, or do you want to look back at a club and be like, 20 years down the line, folk are still talking about me? I walked into a pub in Glasgow, I'd never buy a drink. If I went there, I'd get a hero's reception, etc., etc. Kyle Lafferty was our talisman for that season. The club clicked. He seemed to love it here. Fans loved him, and he was performing, scoring against Hibs, scoring against Rangers, scoring against Celtic. He was playing at a level that if you look at him now, he's never reached. They went back to Rangers, bombed, played shite, then went back. They go to fucking Italy again or something. They went to some random place, wherever he ended up. Denmark, Norway, wherever, and now he's back playing at Kilmarnock on a plastic pitch, played in the Championship last year, etc. And Lawrence Shankland, that if we were a club, I'd be trying to do a Kai Rouse, get in front of him, what I say, 5-year deal, make the highest paid player, give him, chuck whatever we can at him now, and paint him the picture of what Brad says. You stay here for five years and score 30 goals a season. Like, you're getting close to hero status here. Like, what do you want? Do you want a legacy? And to be fair, like, Kev, you said either of the Ugly Sisters. There's only one of the Ugly Sisters in play. You'll never
go
to Celtic. And it's not going to happen. So it would be Rangers. And if he keeps scoring goals and we keep tying him down to contracts, they're in the point where this isn't trying to bam anybody up. They can't afford them, right? They will be able to pay them wages, much bigger wages than we have. But Hearts won't pay any direct debit scheme for Rangers, no buy to let or whatever that is. They'll want to do. They'll not take instalment payments. If they want to buy them, it'll be, we need the money now, right this very second, which I can't see happening. So, but Kev, just talk about him in the game. His goal is everything that sums up Lawrence Shankland in the Hearts jersey, isn't it?
Well, it is, and he'll get the plaudits for all the goals that he scored this season. But it's not just that. It's not just his game now. I think even since he's just became club captain, he's changed his game. He's coming and getting more involved in the play. But the goal yesterday was just great vision, lovely wee 1-2. He's controlling his on his thigh and then smashes it in the bottom corner. Would probably, you could then go and say, is that in the top 5 goals against Hibs at Easter Road? You'll not be far off.
Do you know what it reminded me, Ando? The Stormtrooper Rudy Scatchell volley.
Yeah.
You could have had 3 David Marshalls in goals. He's not saving that. It was literally rocketed in.
The Stormtrooper goal that you're talking about, that is my top. I don't think Shankland's is probably second, or well, maybe third. I don't know. Ryan Stevenson's effort, that was a good one as well. But the all things considered, probably second or third. Best. Just to go back to what you were saying there, just don't want the point to run out, but what you're talking about Shankland, being like a legacy player, right? See, the thing is, if you look at players in the media, right? So earning your wages as a footballer, that's one thing, right? But when you've got it, you'll spend it. You have to think about obviously there's a big part about like sort of financial intelligence and all that sort of stuff. The players that are involved in the media generally are what you would consider like iconic players for their club, right? So if he ties himself down to 5 years, becomes an absolute Hearts legend, there's nothing to say that he can't go on and have a good career in the media. Now, he could do that if he was to switch to another team, but you look at the likes of Thierry Henry, Jamie Carragher, like all the top people that are in media and broadcasting were generally all absolute superstars for the club, for the most part. So that's something else that you can consider. Anyway, back to the other point.
No, but I think there's again the whole game yesterday. There was mirrors to each bit. For the last 2 weeks, we've heard that Kevin Nisbet is the red hot best striker in Scotland, etc. Because he scored against a hat-trick against Motherwell, who are in free fall, probably going to be relegated, and 2 goals against Dundee United, who are second bottom of the league. Everybody ignores that he played on the 2nd of January at Tynecastle, never scored, never even had a sniff, and he played yesterday and never scored and never had a sniff. Believe it or not, I watched it I rewatched it and I've checked the team sheets. He definitely played. He was there. And then you look at Shankland again. He had arguably no clear-cut chances and 2 half chances, and fluffed his lines with the first one when Marshall made a decent save and buried the second one. And it was all of his own creation. He knew what he wanted when he picked up that ball. He tried to put the ball into the box and there was no one there and it was headed out. And he was like, no, I'm scoring here. Played his 1-2 with Humphreys, who we'll talk about in a minute, who was superb when he came on. Chips it into him, takes his touch and absolutely buries it. What a finish. What a player. In his celebration. A nod to Robbo as well was absolutely superb. I love Lawrence Shankland. I won't go back to the episode 1 or whatever this season where I told you that Lawrence Shankland was going to be an absolute goal machine. I won't do it to Ace.
And Ando said he was pish.
I never said that. Never said that. Never said
You
that.
never- to be fair, you
I
never.
set my fucking challenge, right? I set my challenge. I was like, I will put him into boys status if he does X, Y, and Z, and then he done X, Y, and Z. I forget what the challenge was. But yeah, someone's actually asking in the group chat, Ando, have you seen Christoph Berra on Sports Scene? Actually, haven't they?
It's just a miserable prick.
Mate, he hates Hearts and I fucking love it.
Good, fuck him.
Get it, Rungy.
Absolutely,
Get it,
fuck him
Rungy.
right in his face.
Aye.
Do you reckon the boys in Belgium and Beershot are going, here, who the fuck is this guy? Why did we sell him?
Aye, mate, I can. It was, I loved the football limbs or whatever, footy limbs or whatever it is, shared his goal yesterday, and it's just filled with teams that have been like, we were linked to him, we should sign him. And I'm like, finally paying attention to the fact that this guy is absolutely superb. But again, like, to go back, he's our captain, he's our talisman, like, everything that good that comes through Hearts comes through him. He's taken to being captain, a duck to water, unbeaten as captain, touch wood, as it stands. And again, you look at, like, say, it's not that Kevin is, but isn't he a good player? He is a good player, right? And they're two totally different players, I get it. But Hearts just find a way to their heroes to score goals in these matches. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look through the ages, we always have Nadi scores against them, David Abur scores against them, Craig Beattie scores against them, Rudy Scatchell scores against them, Kevin fucking Square Tatty Heed Kyle scores against them, Gary Glenn scores against them, Graham Weir scores against them, Callum Patterson scores against them. Like, the list is outrageous, and yet their talisman can't score. Kevin Nisbet hasn't scored in a derby. Porteous hasn't won a derby. Like, there are levels to this game, and they are just so fucking miles below us. It is superb to see. Any in on YouTube regarding Shankland or anything like that?
There's quite a lot, to be honest. Not so much questions, more just statements that everybody's chatting amongst themselves, sort of thing. But Shankland's goal yesterday is brilliant. The dink to Humphreys, the layoff, and then the shot, low and hard. And actually, the reason I wanted to speak about that one is because from where Shankland hit the ball, right? So if you imagine, like, I'm looking from where the ball fucking nestled to Shankland was a perfectly straight line. And the bit that you don't appreciate on the camera, and anyone that was stood next to me in that area of the ground will know that when he hits it, the ball slightly curves, and it slightly curves out the way, and it just goes round, obviously, the outstretched Marshall's hand. It is, when to see it from that angle, that you maybe don't get the appreciation of just how good it is when you see it on the telly. It was an absolutely phenomenal strike, and as soon as he hit it, you knew it was in. It's just one of those, you're like, yes, my arms are up. Like, before it even hits the net, I'm like,
I wish my
absolutely
arms were up.
fantastic.
When he scored,
You were looking
the
at
row
the ground.
when he scored the row that I was in, the seats came clean off the fucking concrete. There was that. Honestly, at one point when I was celebrating, I felt like the fucking first responders at 9/11. I was just fucking pulling bodies everywhere. Like, there's still people under here. I was like, fuck. Just lifting folk up, drums, megaphones, seats, people, crutches. I was like, the fuck is going on? Where is the ground? My feet haven't touched the ground for 10 minutes. What is going on? it was one of those just absolute. Someone described it. I seen on Kickback today, and we were talking about what it was. It was like Hearts at Easter Road now is turning into top tier is where you want to go if you want to watch the football, etc., etc. It's like go to a gig with your bird, right? You want to watch it, Hingway. You sit up in the balcony, you watch that. Go with your mates, you're in the mosh pit. And the bottom tier at Easter Road for away days now is a mosh pit. That's exactly what it is. There's way too many people there. There are way too many folk in the row, and as soon as you score, it's absolute bananas. That is the wildest away end I think I've probably ever been in, better than Stampy, etc., etc. And when Shanklin scored, literally, no one was trying to break seats, but the seats were just crumbling all around us. And I was like, I'm sure there's like 15 people underneath my feet right now. We need to pick them up. And as always, out from the rubble bounced Shanks. I was like, how the fuck did you get here? Where have you been?
Mate, he's a bouncy ball, right? Like
he's like Tigger.
Aye, the second goal, right? Because I was right on the end of a row, right next to the wee concrete facings that are there for like the wee tunnel bit that you come out of, and stood next to some boy, absolute brilliant, absolutely class banter all day yesterday. I loved the guy. Didn't even catch his name, so I can't even give you a shout out. But he was really, really good value. But then when the second goal went in, that was it. It was just a surge of fucking everybody trying to get to the front just so they could go to the left. Yes, there you go, myself included. But it was absolute bedlam. I've got bruises all over the bottom of my legs, my ankles. I already told you I made a Ricky Hunt of myself falling over at the third goal. Then obviously got trampled all over the top of by two lassies. It was amazing. Brilliant day.
So we'll end the Shanklin thing by talking about the total nonsense that was his red card. That was embarrassing. And again, I don't want to labour the point because I've made it already. But you look at how Sibbick, Rouse and Hill conducted themselves on the day, and watch Porteous and Rocky. Rocky doesn't even get touched, goes down, and Porteous is shouting at him, and he bounces straight back up again to try because they think they've got a chance of getting back in the game. Now we're down to 10 men, etc. It was pathetic, and a gap in the thing was we can't appeal that, because it's two yellow cards. He's very much fucked.
Steve Walsh was
actually
just shite
both the yellow cards.
Terrible.
Both his yellow cards were shite.
Aye, terrible.
They're so poor. This is part of the game. You can't deal with it. Could have been either way.
No, the first one is even less of a yellow card than the second. The second one is I get it. The referee only gets one chance, and because it's a yellow card, VAR can't intervene. Blah blah blah. But the first one, 100% isn't a yellow card. He's the one that gets fouled. He gets done to. That's fucking joke.
Total nonsense. Before Kev, we jump in to talk about the third goal and the best moment of the whole weekend. Well done to everybody for getting involved in the minute's applause in the 61st minute. Football rivalry to one side and stuff. Nobody should be got to football and no coming home. So, thoughts and that go to friends and family. The guy that sadly died at the Hibs hospitality the week before at the Dundee United game. Fair play to both fans as well for getting involved. It's always a hard one when you think. It's a hard one, isn't it? You think it's minute applauses in the opening stages of games. You think, right, well, the chances of being a goal down or whatever are not that high. 60 odd, 70 odd minutes into a match, you're thinking, fucking hell, if we're 2 or 3-0 up or 2 or 3-0 down, there's a chance this is going to happen. So fair play to everybody, well done. Again, the last couple of derbies where we've had to get a show of solidarity between both sets of fans and show that football, some things are bigger than football. Fair play to everybody for getting involved. So
big time.
Well done.
I genuinely didn't know until you said it that the boy had died at hospitality. I was like, that's okay. I was going to say, because it's like I don't want to be that guy and say it, but obviously like lots of people die every single week. And I was like, anyway, doesn't matter. But I had no idea that was the case. But that gave it a clap all the same. And it was really, really well observed by everybody in our stand. It's one of those ones that could be a bit of a coin flip. It's like you go to grounds and you see some things like that go the other way. But chuffed it went our way. Well, the right way.
It was exactly. And then obviously after the sending off, was it 91st minute or something? He gets sent off or something.
I
think it was,
and then obviously the moment that we'll remember for ages, it's up there with me as Fozzie on the fence, iconic. The guy that could have signed for them, the boy that they've slagged and constantly told us that Porto and Rocky are miles better than him, etc., etc. Guys, our own fans have even said, isn't he good enough, etc., etc. Sprints 85 yards, dinks a Scotland international into an empty net. It was absolutely bedlam when he scored. The videos, I've loved the videos. Me and Ando would have seen it because we're in the ground. I don't know if it picked it up on TV, but the sheer amount of Hearts fans in the home end was hilarious. The fact that you could tell because the stands were empty by the time full-time whistle had went, except for pockets of just random people sholo-loloing away with the Hearts fans, etc., etc. It was brilliant. And then there's someone put the fire drill siren over the Toby Sibbick chipping the goalkeeper. It was absolutely beautiful, Kev. What a finish.
It's a great finish, and as I said earlier on about the 1-2 that Shanklin has with Humphreys. You can't overlook how much of an impact Humphreys actually had on the match yesterday when he came on. He gave us another element. He just has that little bit more, and you can see that Ginnelly was a bit gutted to actually go off, and I'm happy, to see him being gutted to being taken off. But actually bringing Humphreys on at that particular point just gave us that extra bit of a dimension, bit more strength up front. And I love the fact that, Humphreys actually, not only did he set up 2 of the goals, but I think one of the first things he done was stuck Porteous on his arse, which was no doubt really accepted within the Dunbar end. So from that point of view, I think, a lot of credit's got to be given to the way Humphreys played yesterday. But my biggest concern and my biggest worry yesterday when Sibbick is bursting a gut to run the full length of the park is that his first touch was a little bit heavy, and I'm like, oh shit. But as
there
we've
are
already
two types
mentioned,
of people in the world, Kev. Wankers that talk about his first touch and folk that can just bask in the glory of his finish. And I'm glad to see what column you fucking sit in.
So I guess and I've got a funny feeling that if you were watching the game, you would also be in the same bloody category. But because you've never seen the goal, because you're still looking at your feet, then that's why you're not there.
If he doesn't take that touch, Marshall stays in his line, 100%. The only reason, and again, that's that. I don't know if it's professionalism or if it's just underestimates. One of the things I want to talk about before we end the podcast or whatever is just this whole. Everybody other than Hearts fans, Celtic and Rangers fans don't care because they're wrapped up in the Rainbow world. But everybody else seems to have this weird thing where the elephant in the room is that they can acknowledge that Hearts are a really good team with really good players that are actually a well-run team and deservedly are third, or you can ignore it and say they're shite and it's just because we've got injuries or we've got a bad manager or whatever. And that's like anybody that done the research will know that Toby Sibbick was a sprinter before he played football. So the fact that he left everybody for dead in the 98th minute or whatever only surprised Hibs because they had no idea that that's what he could do. And again, his touch, Marshall thinks I can get there from a terrible starting position, and the fact that one, you think, well, I might have took a heavy touch, but two, he's fucking rapid, massively rapid. And that was the thing, they looked genuinely shocked with how fast Humphreys was. And I was like, that's the guy that scored 2 weeks ago by a ball going over the top and I'm out sprinting your whole back line, tapping it into an empty net. That's that guy, by the way. That's him. That's number 29. That's Humphreys. That's that guy. Why are you so shocked that he's here? And it was like that with Sibbick as well. It was absolutely glorious, Brads. Can you name a player that's had this transformation as we've seen with Sibbick?
Not off the top of my head. I can't think of. I'm trying to think who's turned it around as much as that. Because he came in, it's like a weird one because he came in and he played his 3 games and he was actually fairly solid centre mid that we had. Then got that weird illness, and then I'll hold my hands up. I thought he was fucking terrible. I would have binned him at the start of this year. I would have got rid of him. That's how bad
Agree with
he
you.
was and how low in confidence he was. If they said, sorry mate, this isn't working out, you're going, I would have left it there. He's now fast becoming one of my favourite players at the club for everything that he's doing. And by the way, I didn't know like he had that in him for the 95th minute to be sprinting at that pace.
Yeah.
We've already said that was a tatty field.
Aye.
The back line were run. They did really well, but they were run ragged by that Ewan. They were constantly having to move. They were constantly having to go. To have the energy and just the sheer balls to go, I'm fucking going for this. Give me Humphreys, fucking give me that ball, and then just take off like that.
It's actually quite funny. If you have a look at it again, you see I think there's 5 Hibs players in our box when Sibbick and Humphreys move out, and they all look at each other and they say, "Fuck it, I'm not running."
Mate,
I'm not going to go.
100%. I've watched it before. It's like Cadden for the second goal. He didn't know whether he needed a shite or a haircut. He had no idea where he was. He didn't know where Shankland had went. 100%. And that was exactly what it was like when the ball came out. They were like, "Fuck this! I'm not chasing him. Somebody else can chase him. I'm not doing it." And the whole time he was bearing down a goal, I was watching Kev, and I was thinking, we've went for Don Cowie. Folk would argue with you that Don Cowie was fucking good, and he was absolute fucking dog meat.
Can you get that dead horse and put it back in the cupboard, man? We can't bring that out again, man. No.
He is the yardstick to measure all of our success. Don Cowie and Toby Sibbick. We've took our shite players and put them up a level, and that Toby Sibbick has been absolutely phenomenal. What a goal! The commentary for Laurie on Hearts TV as well is absolutely sensational. Hibs are being smashed at Easter Road yet again.
And see, the thing is, that's no accident. Anyone that's listened to our earlier episodes will know that Laurie's been on this pod and spoken at length about awkward moments of having to be in Easter Road right next to their I don't think it's their corporate gigs, but it's the like season ticket holders, right? Aye, wherever it is, wherever he sits is basically there's like the row in front of him or behind him or wherever it is proper Hibs fans. So fair play to Laurie if you're listening, mate. Well done. I listened back to it this afternoon. It gave me goosebumps. Absolutely outstanding.
And we'll sort you out for some pyro for the next game, mate.
I like who's the guy that does co-commentary again? Jimmy Sanderson. Saying, take it to the corner. Superb.
Take the corner, run the clock down. And like, no, shut up, man. No, he's never doing that.
I seen Mark Donaldson at Middleton's as well. I've seen him just very, very.
He only flew in the morning.
I never asked for his fucking schedule. Aye, fuck's sake.
Do you two need to go away and have a chat or something? Like, what's the matter? Has there been some sort of like sexual tension at your work or something? Like, not bring your work into it, but fucking hell.
Okay. Get the badge in, Kevin. Right, and then the last time. Actually, I'm going for a tam. Let's go for a tam, and then we'll end it. We'll sum up with just where we are as a club, and we'll look forward to who do we get Hamilton in the cup. We'll talk about Hamilton. Right? I'll be back.
No worries.
Any decent questions in the chat, Ando?
I don't know, mate. There's the more and more people we have on this thing, the more and more it is difficult to keep up with. So we're gonna need we need to get like like a beautiful assistant or something to read the YouTube chat as we go on for the weeks coming forward. But the
Back to Tam for some breaking news.
Tam's never getting back in the pod, man. He's done.
Show name behind me. Show name has to be a shite or a haircut.
Shite or a haircut. I've already written it down, mate. That's absolutely it. There's people are wondering about adverts. Yes, you will periodically see adverts, and it's only because our channel is monetized. And you, in order to keep the lights on, this is my Story Towers. We will obviously take all that revenue from you watching adverts and stuff. But Stuart Scott actually mentioned that he says he's sure Gino pulled up before going off. I don't remember that. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, but...
Well, did you say fast he sprinted on the touchline to celebrate with Sibbick? I don't think it upset him that much if he pulled up. There's a rant for you, Kev, right? So Shanklin gets sent off. Gino gets booked for the celebration. Cochrane's on our booking, also in the celebrations. Doesn't he get booked?
Oh, as I said, is it Steve Walsh, Sean Walsh, whatever the boy's name is that was the ref yesterday? Hasn't he got a fucking? He didn't care whether it was Sunday or bloody Tuesday. He was all over the damn place. Useless referee.
Is somebody's going to give us an update on Boyce, because I thought he was injured.
Mate,
and that,
yeah,
he's sprinting about and jumping in the air and
Okay.
Must be back
And
this
I'm
running
Saturday.
the length of the park to,
Must be back this
to
weekend.
celebrate with the boys. Like,
But again, like this the thing where we've said for ages that this team's gritty, right? This team's got balls. It's the ballsiest Hearts team that we've seen for a long, long time. But what cannot be overlooked is that this is the most likeable Hearts team since probably '98 or George Burley's, right? But I love George Burley's team because they were superstars. You're thinking, how are we watching these guys play at Tynecastle? Jim Jeffries' sides were proper up and coming, brilliant football players at the start of their careers. Neil McCann's, David Weir, Gary Naismith's, all these guys, Colin Cameron's, etc., etc. Like you could see their potential, and it was exciting. And that's what it feels like with this team right now. And the thing I love the most about them is the bench to a man celebrated with Sibbick. Every single one. Ross Stewart, the sub goalkeeper's down there. Cochrane's down there having just been subbed off. Gino's down there he's just been subbed off as well. Every single person on that Hearts bench that could run, unlike Boyce, was down celebrating. And then the pictures of Boyce celebrating after it, we all see Boyce and go, oh, brilliant, Boyce, he's there. Every one of the players point out the kit man, saying, Gogsy, what a fucking hero, celebrating, because he's the one in the picture. That's why the club took the picture, no because Liam Boyce is jumping in the background. It's because Gogsy, the kit man that's been there for decades, is celebrating, and all the players pick up on it saying, what a guy, that's for you, Gogsy, we love you, all that sort of stuff. You see it at the end, they're pushing Sibbick to be in front of the fans. They couldn't get handshakes other than Humphreys going around bamming everybody up, going fucking 3-0 in their face. Every other player fucking handshook like that as quick as they could because they wanted to get to the Dunbar end. They wanted to celebrate. And this team is the most likeable we've had for a long, long time.
Aye, it was something that I listened to it in the wireless as I was walking up to go meet the boys for a pint after the game yesterday. Was Tom English used the word chemistry. I think that's probably the best way to describe exactly what you're speaking about, which is there's a chemistry about this team now. It's like they'll all live and die for each other. Like they'll take a bullet for each other on the park or whatever. Like, not to sound too wanky about it, but that's the kind of sentiment behind it. Is that there's definitely a chemistry, and not only that, but a robustness about this team now that we've not seen in probably maybe twice in a generation. So,
you know, like you said there, you've got players unhappy at being subbed off, genuinely delighted for their teammates that have just came on to score. I know that they didn't, but you know what I mean. They're no sitting in the bench in a huff or whatever. They literally had us out because they think they want to stay on. Gino thought, I'll score again. That's why they didn't want to go off. That's why Shanklin wouldn't want to go off. That's why, because they sense blood. They think we have got opportunity here to go score more goals, and then they shut that off to be like, I want to go celebrate my team. Like, they understand. There's phrases in football that I hate, part and parcel. I say it all the time, but I hate it. And that whole they get it thing, because 9 times out of 10 they get paid, and that's what they get about a football club, right? But this team genuinely do get what it's all about. Like, do you know what I mean? They absolutely. Mikey Smith, for example, right? Mikey Smith gets slaughtered all the time. Never, ever, ever doesn't he show up. Doesn't it? The same with Andy Halliday, gives you 100% of what he's got. Sometimes 100% of what he's got, it's not good enough, right? It's just no. Sometimes it's not good enough for what we need, but it gives you everything it is, and he knows what it's all about, loves it, gets involved, leading the celebration, singing along, all that sort of stuff. It's just brilliant, Kev. The club is in such a good space right now, isn't it?
Probably in the 47 years I've been following the club, probably in the best place it's been in that time. I don't think we as a club have been in any better situation, be that on the park or off the park. And
Who did you spoke
that
before
cool.
that, Kev?
Say again?
Who did you support before that 47 year?
Good one. Aye, I like that. That's off to you for that one, Brad. You were quick there. You were quick.
But aye,
But no, it's, we've never been in this position, and we can only go from strength to strength.
Aye.
Touch wood.
I agree, touch wood, exactly. Right, boys, anything else, Ando, anything that's came up on YouTube or whatever you want us?
Not much, just the one final comment from Blundetto, and thanks for your help earlier on, mate, was Oda was standing on his own. Felt bad for the wee guy. That must just be in reference to the celebrations that happened towards the end. But again, we don't want to end on a negative. But loads of comments. Again, loads of people just chatting amongst themselves. No specific questions, but the good content is always, to be fair. The questions have been good so far.
What, the older guy was celebrating with Alan Forrest at the back, but he doesn't speak English. He's probably not got a fucking clue what is going on. He's probably never seen anything like that in his whole entire life.
Yeah.
He had no idea. He's probably gone down one side, been chucked and hit with stuff and hundreds of abuse that he doesn't have a clue. Gone in front of an away end that's gone absolutely bananas. He's probably shot himself thinking, what the fuck is going on? These guys,
who are these savages that I'm playing from now?
Like, happy to see me or not? But that's another thing that, again, goes unnoticed that I thought Robbie did very well with the game, is that Lee Johnson signs John Lego, or whatever he's called, and chucks him in the middle of the park in a derby. He's never played in Scotland before, etc., etc. And Robbie could have chucked on Oda, he could have chucked on Cool or whatever, but it's no the game. That's no the game for them. It's no the arena for them to come out, because you take two bad touches or you make a bad pass or you give the ball away and they score, your career's done. That's what folk remember. And I thought, again, it's wee tiny things like that. Like I said before, it's not about being clinical or whatever. We're just cleverer right now. Robbie is a cleverer manager than Lee Johnson. The players are cleverer than the Hibs players, and I thought that was, even though subtle, I thought it was really good man management for Robbie on Sunday, not to bring either of the two of them on.
Nah, totally fair. Like, you bring them on when you're 2-0 up in the first half against Livy, and the game's won. Right.
Well, let's give them the opportunity to play against Hamilton on a plastic pitch, or a freezing Sunday night or something.
I don't fucking love that. Welcome to Scotland.
No Shankland for that game, but we can have Humphreys, and Humphreys can lead the line, which I'm quite happy with.
And by that point, we'll have Callum Patterson. He can play up front as well.
There you go.
There we go.
Nice thinking.
Right, boys. It's good to see us. What have we got up next? Livingston.
Livingston on Sunday on Sky Sports as well. So
I'm fucking sick of Livingston, man. I fucking hate Livy. So let's get them pumped, and we'll do this again. We'll do this again next Sunday.
Absolutely.
Thanks to everybody for getting involved in YouTube. Sorry for not being able to get you on the Teams thing. We'll try and figure it out and work out how we can do it for the next time or whatever. But
it's my homework for tomorrow. I'm going to figure it out well in time for next week, so don't worry.
Cool. Right, boys. I'll see you all next week, alright?
Catch you after.
See you later, guys.
Gorgoro.